morning and welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, and disembodied hands, Quinny, disembodied beard, John, and a very sad Kiki dog who pulled something or did something, and she's just not her usual, like, super excited self. I don't know quite what she pulled off, but good morning. But she's like, yesterday, in the morning she was fine, but, like, later in the day, she, like, didn't want to sit up in bed, and she didn't want to jump or run, so I assume she, like, pulled something. Because she's, of course, a silly dog who is always exploding into motion, and she's also a sedentary dog. That's a bad combo. So, yeah, something's going on with the Keekster. That we're hoping that with some time, she will recover. But, yes. She pulled a muscle or something, I bet, Twisted Oma. Like... Because it's just, like, her movement, and she's sad because she can't, like, I assume she's got twinges of nasty. But she's a good self-limiter, so she's, like, walking really carefully, and, she went for her walk this morning, and David said she was mostly normal, but she also, like, she wouldn't run. Like, she would only trot. So, he thinks maybe she pulled, like, an abdominal muscle or something. But she's walking, and she got up, but she was no way. We lifted her onto the bed last night, you guys, and she was so happy after we did, because she wanted to jump up, but we could tell, but she didn't want to do it because it hurt. So David actually lifted her onto the bed, all 77 freaking pounds of her, and she was like, did in circles. She did in circles because she was so happy. And then she stayed up there with us while we watched our fortune fire. So, yeah. And then she asked to be allowed to go down, so then we had to, like, make sure she could get down okay. But, yeah. So, poor Keeks is a little bit of her usual exuberance is shaved off the top, and David is sad. He has not had to deal with a sick, sad dog before, so. Yeah, she's a cutie, though. All right, we are going to continue on with pumpkinness today. Yell at Luca. He wasn't painting Halloween, was he? Or was he? Was he painting a Halloween-y spooky thing, or was he probably just has to do his commissions. You should be, like, Octobering. You should be Octobering. Okay, so, remember what we mixed yesterday? We had our 2 drops of orange brown and our 1 drop of volcanic orange. Oh, GD, you're right. I forgot. He's still cramming. He's got to have a fried brain by now. I would have a fried brain if I'd been working on those things, like, nonstop for the past, like, 2.5 or 3 weeks or whatever he's been doing. Yeah, I bet his brain is gooey. Oh, is it tomorrow? Yeah, he's royally sick of it. Yep. That's what happens when you have to cram it all into, like, a month, right? You get really sick of it. You can't take any love in it. Like, you can't enjoy it, right? That's why I've just kind of, and I'm not now given Luca is working hard to make the bucks, right? But I'm always, as far as my own stuff, I'm always like, you know what, it'll get done when it gets done, and then Golden Demon's still been around for the last, 30 or 40 years, so I'm not going to miss it. If I miss this year, I'm not too depressed. But some people cannot afford that mindset, so. You got your bones sick. Nice, Mac. That is great. Let me do the same thing. If you remember, do the same thing with the burnt orange and the explosion orange. Now, I'm mixing these up just in case I need to do touch-ups, but we probably will do all the remaining light up eyes, eye, nose, mouth on this. Somebody brought up yesterday that they didn't think the yellow was going to look as good because the orange wasn't darker. But remember down here on the mouth and nose, it does go darker. So I think that'll help down there. We'll see. The nice thing about working on one model, the same model every day, is that, yeah. Yes, you can do your happy dance. Everybody here will appreciate your happy dance. But the nice thing about working on one model every day is that I don't have to put my paints away. I can be lazy. And then we used just a little bit of white, so I'm gonna put a drop of white in there to lighten it up. I'm going to mix up those colors, and that's what we're going to start with. And I'll get this white also because we need to have that yellow. Do, 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 do. Miniatures and models Twitch category that finally, holy crap! Kermit Arms, Twitch! Kermit Arms! Good job! Thank God. About time, Twitch. Smallish Sam, thank you for the Prime sub. 17 months. Let's just celebrate that we finally have our own category other than Warhammer. Like, how long did it take? Like, we've had to be in art. Not that I mind being in art, but still, it's not quite the same. Yeah, it's really nice. Really nice they finally gave us our own channel. There's my water. Giant sea of the art category, I know, right? Like, everybody coming to this category is going to be looking for specifically what we have, right? And that's just so great. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. It's marvelous. I bet the art people are like it makes sense. I mean, I believe that what we do here is art, but it's also very specialized art. And I can see how people just going to browse the art category might not be into what we're selling or pushing or something. All right, I'm gonna get back here. Mixing up my colors. We have our volcanic orange plus orange brown. We have our burnt orange plus explosion orange. We have our lantern yellow with 1 drop of white, and we have our pure white. And all of these are about 4 or 5 to 1 paint to water, so I'm keeping them fairly thick at this point. That's like a pumpkin flesh orange. I would totally have made that into a color if I was still in charge of the paint department. There we go. All right. Our base pumpkin and our pumpkin flesh. And then our light. There we go. Yeah, I think that's really great too, Quindy. Yep. Yeah, and then miniatures people can go to the miniatures channel. And Warhammer people can be in the Warhammer channel. It'll be great. It'll be great. All right, let's get in focus and up closer. So we're going to fill in. We want these, we want the eyes and mouth and nose to be glowy. So we're going to fill them in with white first. We're going to use a smaller brush since we're getting inside of these areas. But if we get a little bit onto the outer edge, that's okay, because I'm going to do that a little lighter anyway. You can see that I edged it a little bit. I think I thinned my white just a little bit too much. I think it was a very large drop of water that I put there. So I'm going to put a couple more drops in. And we wonder why I go through pure white like it's going out of style. Yeah, Kurnico, yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, we weren't actually on the Warhammer channel, right? We never did that. I thought about doing it, but I wasn't working on GW models on my stream at all, so I just never did it. If I ever do work on a GW model, I probably will go over there just to see if there's any cross-pollination to be had. There are a lot of viewers on Warhammer, but they're probably not wanting what I'm doing, right? That's the thing. They're wanting quick tips, usually. Fast paint jobs. They're usually not looking for... And even Luca. Luca is like blazing fast for the quality he does, I think. I was super sad yesterday. I didn't really get to. I worked a little bit on the new book. I'm getting a handle on the characters in my head. I had to come up with the werewolf paladins like motivations and in order for there to be a happy ending, I had to figure out why he would stop roaming around doing good everywhere. That was difficult. But I got it. I figured it out, so. Yes, Critiko. This is so your book. I am doing you a solid and patterning him after the D&D movie Paladin. So there you go. You can imagine the D&D movie Paladin in your head as you read this book. Since it's a romance, and since I'm not in a hurry, I'm thinking about writing 3 of them and then releasing them all at once. But Kuro, you get early reading rights. But I'm thinking about actually doing something I haven't done before and putting the books, the first book at least, up on Book Sirens, which is a place you can get ARC readers. So just to get a bunch of romance beta readers, because Book Sirens is typically fantasy and romance, and, well, this book is a fantasy romance. I haven't tried it before. There's some talk that books that go on there are easily pirated. But I don't know, we'll see. I might give it a try with this series, because it's a separate pen name. Yes, the D&D movie Paladin. Littlest hobo in armor. He is, you're right. He is, but I have to convince him to stop being a hobo, or he can't have, well, at least a little, or he can't have love, so. I had to, like, really think about it last night. Like, when I was doing my my stretches and icing my knee after CrossFit, I was like, all right, how is my heroine going to convince this guy to not keep, to actually stay with her, and, like, if he must keep roaming, at least roam in a, in a more subdued pattern. He is pretty hot. I'll give you that. He is pretty hot. I really like that they gave him even him, like, he needs to be tongue-in-cheek, right? Because he's so paladin-y. And that movie just does such a great job of tongue-in-cheek. Like, absolutely wonderful. I love it. I love it when the bard character says, "I hate you," and he just gets this little paladin smirk on his face. It's great. It gives him character. It would have been easy to just go over the top and make him boring, but he actually is cool. Yeah, when we were on vacation, I made David watch it with me. Koriniko. David enjoyed it. Even though he's not as much of a D&D nerd as I am. So I'm going to put one layer down, guys, and I'm going to actually just solidify a little bit more and then put the yellow on. You may have watched Bridgerton because of him. I see. But yeah, he's great typecasted as a paladin. He nailed it. But yeah, I enjoyed all the D&D-ness of the D&D movie. And this is the first movie I've actually watched for maybe over a year, so. Yeah, when the bard felt his illusion of him singing, yeah. Yeah, you gotta let it marinate. Yeah. At least, okay, if you're a writer like me, you gotta let stuff marinate. That's why I was just thinking a lot last night. Like, this is the first, since it's October, it's like officially my time to begin putting my energy, and Rite of Winter is out, and my trip is done. So now I can officially put all of my thinking energy toward the new book. Which I think is going to be called Alchemy and Attraction. I think I'm going to I'm working on my titles for the trilogy. It's a hard call though because romantasy often has like not romance titles. So I'm also considering other titles. Like it often isn't as in your face. So I'm like I was going to go with art and alchemy, but that doesn't say romance at all. So it's like it's hard call. It's these books really try, like toe the line. Yes, if he's lawful good, then why did he steal the movie? Right. And I really liked Hugh Grant. Like I really liked his conman character. He did a great job of that. I thought he made a good villain. I never liked Hugh Grant as a like romantic lead, but I like him as a villain. If he's lawful good, why did he steal the movie? Yes. Because he's lawful good and a badass, that's why. Lawful good sucks until it's a badass. And then you're like, ooh. Hey, New Code, thank you for the resub. 58 months. Oh my god, you're almost to 60. Yeah, I never liked him in any like back in the back Dawn times when he was actually a romantic lead and stuff. I was never a Hugh Grant fan, but I really like him in the D&D movie. I like him as a villain, as a con artist. Yeah, it is Critico. I agree. That's a good progression for him. And having experience being a meanie, he can play them convincingly. To touch that up. Probably need to get a little bit more brown mixed in there. But yeah, I'm sure I missed stuff too in the movie because we were fending off a Kiki for part of it, so I'm probably gonna go back and rewatch it. Gotta nail that paladin character. Alright, so we got our first layer of white in there. I'm going to mix up a shadow just because I remember this orange is actually not only is it over black primer, which gives it that shadow, but it also has brown mixed into it. So I'm going to grab my russet brown and get some of that together. Oh, did they? They need to be in a bit of D&D as a group as their characters? That's awesome. That is pretty awesome. Yeah, Jeremy Irons. I'll say the same. I've got a same on that. Critico. He's done too many voiceover villains. Just getting my russet brown mixed up so I can mix a little bit in with my orange and just use that as a spot touch up. So I was reading about recording your own audiobook yesterday, also because there's that's our current, the Alliance of Independent Authors has a forum and that's their current like question of the week contribution thing. is audiobooks good for indie authors or not good for indie authors. And there's a lot of differing opinions on that. Some people are like, I did it and it wasn't worth it. Some people are like, I did my own and that was the best way because then all the money is mine and I didn't have to make back anything except my equipment. But it also, like, the one guy who put it out, who responded, I went to read, he wrote an article about it on his blog. He was like, this is going to take you months. Like, because every hour of material you record takes 3 hours to edit. And that's not even counting your listen through and making sure your voices are consistent and re-recording parts and all that stuff, guys. Yeah, you should see it, Twisted Noma. It's a fun ride. The D&D movie is a fun ride. Interesting. On his big beefy shoulders. Alright, so I've got my white. It's all dry now, so I can go and do just a little bit more, mostly toward the center of each aperture, just to make it solid up. I don't want any gray. I don't want that gray behind that yellow. At least not in the centers where I need it to be very bright. So I don't have to repaint everything, but I do need to get it really solid in the center. Yeah, it takes a lot of time. So if you may eventually get the audiobooks, but I'm going to have to look into it slowly and slowly acquire things for it. The nice thing is once you have all the equipment and you have your space set up, and I would probably use our walk-in closet, which seems to be a very common place people use. Once you have everything set up, then, then it's only just time, right? Oh, yeah. Like, I'm reading one right now that's a running book. Kind of a memoir of one of the top female racers, marathoners. And she reads it herself, and she's very not good at it. And it was disappointing. Like, I'll probably pick up the book and just read it and enjoy it much more. But yeah, I mean, in order to make sure that everything is good, you have to, like, check, double check, triple check. Like, you need to run it through a filter and make sure there's minimum background noise, and you need to have exactly a certain amount of space before and after, like, within certain windows, or it gets refused, like, on each chapter. Like, there's all sorts of fiddly crap you need to do. Yeah, I know the acoustics about it, HM, that's why people do it. It makes sense. And it's big enough that I can set up a chair in there and comfortably record. But it's a huge commitment because, I mean, this author guy, he was pretty much like, give yourself, read an hour at a time, but then edit right after. So that you're, like, still, like, in your voices, in the mood, of that chapter, and you're consistent. But that's 4 hours a day. Like, that sucks up pretty much all of my work time right there. Unless I work at night. So, you can give them to him. Hey, Roger. But yeah, so I'm a little scared of all that intensive. Like, I'd rather be writing. Like, I like that takes away all my writing time and a lot of my Patreon time. I really like. I'd need to finish Patreon like every week, super fast, so that I could spend like 2 days working on the book. It would take me so long because East of the Sun has a lot of chapters. So if you're doing like say that each chapter takes you an hour. And I would probably do it that way. I'd probably just do it one chapter a day. All right, so now let's block in these yellow. You can see, though, that the white shows up very well against this darker brown orange, even though up here it gets a little light. So let's go ahead and do that. Oop, I missed the little support thing. Inside the eyeball. How do you do that? There. So we're going to block this in, and then we're going to see, we lighten up the centers, and we'll see if we can do the kind of the glowy edges like I did kind of fast on this side, but I'll do it all over. Yeah, don't let him do his real accent enough. H6, zoom H6. Yeah? I'll make a note of that. 1 second. I'll look into it. What software do you use for the editing the sound, Mac? Or does it come with its own software? Zoom H6. Adobe, I don't use, yeah. No. Nope. I'm noping right out of that. I use something else. Adobe's just too fiddly for me. Like, it's always been too fiddly. I have tried to use numerous Adobe for art programs over the years, and it's too freaking fiddly. There's just too high of a learning curve, and I get impatient. Doesn't have to be that difficult, but if you already know the software, it makes sense to use that. Yeah. That's cool. I mean, I should be able to use, there are other programs I should be able to use, so. Plenty of other ones at this point. Yeah, but it's unlikely that I'm going to prioritize this. It's just like, essentially what happens is every like 3 to 6 months, something like pops up that gives me a little bit of information on audiobooks, on doing my own audiobooks. And I make a note, I read it, I make a note, I think about it a little more. And, in another year or two, enough of that will have built up that I'll actually start doing it. Right now, though, I didn't tell you guys, like Kiki needs to have all of her health testing done. I was expecting it to be about $1,500 for all the health testing. I priced it yesterday. I'm going to be paying $2,300. $2,300 to get Kiki's hip x-rays, elbow x-rays, eye and heart certifications. $2,300, more than a mortgage. Because I live here. If I was in Texas, I could probably get it for like $1,500. Given inflation and everything. Back when I did Leo and Kiri, it was about $1,000 a dog. But here we are in the Bay Area. I could save $400 if I drive to Santa Cruz, but then I'd lose $200 of it on a hotel room, gas, and travel stress. So it's just not worth it. The big price is the anesthesiologist, because they have to put the dog under in order to do the pen hip. I could go cheap, but it's not in my nature to go cheap, because I could just do the OFA hip x-rays, but honestly, they're substandard. They just do not like. I do not believe in them, and so I've seen too many questionable results. So I'm doing pen hip, and pen hip is freaking expensive. So at least part of this cost is a choice. I could lower it by probably $800 if I just went with OFA, but I just don't like them. I don't think they do a good job. Hello, Carrie. How's it going? Yeah, Kerniko, it's pen hip is there are two different types of x-rays for dog hips. And you have to go with OFA for elbows because that's the only org that does it. But the pen hip is mathematically figured, where they actually measure like your dog's hip socket and then the amount that the hip is out of the socket, and they give you a mathematical number. But OFA just has a team of like 3 veterinarians who have to agree on a result, and like they're just looking at it. So if they're having a bad day, or if they've seen a bunch of really good hips before you, you know, there's bias there. Like there's implanted bias in that system. That's funny. So so essentially I'm paying for the anesthesia, the sedation, the hip x-rays, the elbow x-rays. I'm paying for the initial exam because I have to go to a vet that's not my actual vet, so I'm also paying like $150 just for that. I'm paying for recovery time in the hospital afterwards, which of course they ding you on. Yeah, yep, hip score lower is better, correct. Yeah, because then that's the less amount. Like a 0.2 is really, really good. Because you want some laxity in the hip joint, right? Because, you know, your hips need to flex, you need to get some of that. But you don't want a lot of laxity, or the bone's going to essentially pound into the hip socket, and that's what causes remodeling and arthritis. So lower is better. And you guys over in Europe have there's different system also. But here in America, like, OFA is just yuck. I don't want some subjective assessment of my dog's hips. Like, I can't tell you the number of dogs I've seen that come back, like, with a non-passing, like marginal score, like marginally dysplastic in the OFA system, and then end up being perfectly fine in the pen hip system. Like, maybe they have more lax hips, but maybe they get like a 0.4, but that's still passing, right? So, and it's different positioning too, so. But it's expensive because the pen hip, in order to do pen hip, the veterinarian has to actually go and do a course and get certified to do it. And they have to recertify, I think every year, every 2 or 3 years. So in order to do pen hip, you have to do that. In order to do OFA, you can just be any old veterinarian. There's no test for you. Yeah, so. Yeah, so essentially pen hip is definitely the gold standard, and I feel like it's the trustable rating, but but you're paying for it. And so I'm going to be paying for it. Kiki owes me. So I'm doing the white in the middle. I'm losing a bit more. Yesterday, I think my paint was a bit more wet, and I waited a bit more on this. So I'll let it dry, and I'll see how it goes. I'm going to lighten up this a little bit, though. There we go. Yeah, so it's a pain. It's going to take me a long time to like pay back that, the money I have to take out of my dog expenses account. The nice thing is that I have a dog expenses account, having owned dogs for many years now. So I have the money, which many people wouldn't, but you just hate to use it. You just hate to pull that out. All right, nice solid yellow here. Tuna mayonnaise. Yes, we would just call it tuna salad, correct. But anyway, so yay, in November I get to shell out almost $2,500 for Kiki. Kiki's like, but you love me. Right, Mom? Yes, Kiki, I love you. Lots of money's worth. And that's not even the end of it. Like, anybody who ever tells you that dog breeding is like a money-making opportunity isn't doing it right. I can't even tell you guys. Like, I'm probably going to be $5,000 in the hole before we even have puppies. Like, that's how it runs if you do it right. You know, if you do all the health testing and then you buy all the product, you know, all of the setup. Yeah. It's like if we actually, we'll see. Well, she has to pass all the testing first, so there's still a chance that Kiki will never be a mama. But that's fine. Yeah, I don't miss the hemorrhaging money part of dog breeding. I was telling David about this last night, and he's like, but will you actually make your money back? And I'm like, I don't know, it depends. Thank you, good for not costing you $5,000. Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, I'm like, if Kiki only has 2 puppies, we will definitely not make our money back. Like, that's the thing. Alright, so I'm going to do a little bit of wet blending in here with the yellow and white. A little bit of wet blend stipple. And then you look at all the time investment that I do too. So it's like spending, you know, a lot of hours going over the merits of various studs and doing research into their health issues that they might carry, and then comparing it to Kiki's possible risks, writing up a breeding proposal, all the everything. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm sorry, Mac. That's just the meds. Yeah, that's terrible, Sam. That's why I have pet insurance. Like, I learned that with Kiri's cancer. If we hadn't had insurance, Kiri's radiation treatments would have cost us easily $10,000. But as it is, we had an embrace, and they reimbursed us 90%. And they even sent a thank you note to our vet. But yeah, that's ever since then. I keep a dog emergency savings account, and I keep pet insurance. Pet insurance on my pets. You got that white coming in the middle. We just keep that to the center of the yellow. Yeah, just $7,000 to finally diagnose and provide ER treatment. Yep. Yeah, dog ownership, pet ownership in general is not a walk in the park. Like, when things go wrong, they go wrong expensively. I agree. And here in, the part of the problem is the place I live, right? Because I live here in the San Francisco Bay Area, where prices are exorbitant, like, Yeah, that's smart. That's really smart, Korniko. I mean, because I had to put a cat, I had to say goodbye to my first kitty because I didn't have the money to treat her. She had diabetes, feline diabetes. And that broke my heart. Like, if I would have had a savings account or something like that or insurance, I wouldn't have had to say goodbye. And I think ever since that point is when I just started always having an account, an emergency account for the animals. Because I never want to be in that position again. Yeah, yep, yeah, for sure. Smaller Sam, yep. Yeah, the older dogs are. At that point, you just want to have an account that you keep adding money to. That's what we did actually with our when Kiri and Leo got older. Is we just had saved up a bunch of money, and we're pretty much like, well, this is it's there's no point in paying the premiums. So we've got enough saved up that we can cover anything that happens. Ah, that's nice, Mac. The maple logs. There we go. Yeah, they won't insure her anymore. Yep. Good luck with the holding the diva while they shave her. Now, since this part of the mouth is like turned down, you're never going to get like as bright. Like it's in shadow, so the best I can do is try to make it as bright as I can, but it is recessed, so there's just a limit as to what you can do. At that point, as somebody yesterday pointed out, like LED lights are where it's at, but I can't even imagine LEDing this sucker. You'd have to you'd have to Dremel out a chunk and then like Dremel the eyes out and the nose. You could do it, but at this size, you could never do it on the small one, I think. I can't do that. Kiki's actually worse when I'm with her than when I just hand her over to the vet techs. She probably thinks they're going to kill her, so she immediately becomes a model dog once I leave the room. So with Kiki, I'm just like, you know what? You take her. With me, she like is hyperventilating, trying to manipulate me into taking her home. And then the minute she goes in the back, she'll just lay down in the lap of one of the vet techs. Yep. Like vet techs always come out after they've done whatever they need to do to Keeks. They always come out and they're just like, she was so good. They're just like shocked. So I'm wise to Kiki's game. Yeah. All right, so I think that's pretty good. I want to make sure I've got that light showing around the edges of everything, like start of a new plinth business. That would be a lot of plinths. Who was it that I just saw? One company that was offering some really nice plinths. One of our standard miniatures companies. It might have been Hera Models. David showed me their little advertisement. So I'm just doing a little bit of lighter edging around, just on the very edges of all of these areas with the lantern yellow mix. Yeah, yeah, which is really nice. Like, it's about time, right? When you're making the product, that requires that, like, why not also offer plinths and make a little extra money? At that point, it's an add-on. It saves me the time of trying to do something in Blender or and print it, or of trying to search around somebody else who makes plinths. Need to get the inside of this eyeball. Totally did not get it. Eight logs. Oh, wow. That's a lot, Mac. If it's water dripping, it might be the AC condensation twistedoma, so maybe just might be something with the AC. But yeah, that's the problem with houses, right? They just like pets tend to be a money pit after a certain age. It's what you pay for having the privacy and the quiet and no crazy neighbors. At least no crazy neighbors that are immediately connected to your home. Okay, gonna keep working this around the edges here. Yup, twistedoma. I get it. Meeting time. Bye, Crowley. Ah, you have a bandsaw. Yeah, you're gonna have to cut them. Yeah. Nice. Nice, Max. Sounds like quite the process. I think this looks bright enough. There was some concern yesterday that it wouldn't look bright enough if the orange was lighter, but I think it's looking just fine. We're getting there, Polly. Yep, we're pumpkining. We're gonna work our way around. I'm glad we're just doing this one every day too, because it takes the pressure off of, like, if I was doing it like in rotation, I would be sweating it, like trying to get as much done as I could every session. And I really don't want to speed paint this one. I want it to look good, so. That's looking pretty good. Yeah. Rawr. Alrighty. Let's take our oranges and get some of these little lumpy bits highlighted a bit. So I'm going to start with just my normal orange down here for these little lumpy bits. And then as it goes higher, I'm going to use my brighter orange highlight. Hello, Richard. Yeah, I love those when you back a Kickstarter and like it doesn't get to you in like 2 years, and then you get a mystery box and it's like Christmas. We're doing okay. Kiki pulled a muscle or something, so she's a sad dog. We're not sure what's going on with her. Gonna give it a couple days and see if she perks up, and if not, then it's off to the vet we go. Alright, so yeah, it's like free toys, exactly. Yeah, present from past Richard. That's funny. Mm. Well, it's nice that you found it easily, what the problem was, Laura. And I need to get some, I need to make some lighter orange as well. Gonna put another drop of water in this lighter orange. And I need to make another couple lighter oranges as well. All right. Oops. No, no, no. We were discussing pets, but now we're discussing hurricanes. Weirdly, this romance novel may be the most structured book I've ever written. Because the beats are so very well defined on my beat sheet. Your cats are cute, yes. Oh, when the next 90-day challenge will be announced? Probably after fulfillment, yeah. Reaper's got a lot on his plate right now, and the Kickstarter fulfillment is pretty pressing. Gotta keep the customers happy. Yeah, I like that. So it goes from quite dark on up to lighter, and I'm keeping the lighter orange really around the top, because this is a pretty dramatic lighting zenith that I've done. So oh, that's cute. Garnico. Okay, time to start carrying the oranges around to the sides. Alright, I want a bigger brush, so I want to solidify my orange through here a bit. And I want to wet blend the russet brown with the base orange. So we want to get the orange, get a bit of orange on here. Probably section by section, and then we'll grab a little bit of our brown and mix that in. And again, we're going to use the zenith, seeing the zenith underneath as our guide to where the brown goes. It's not quite as dry today as it was yesterday. So hopefully we can get a little bit more wet blending done before everything dries. Sounds like Facebook, same way. I don't use X, Twitter, very often. Usually only to follow like esports and stuff, but at least lately I haven't even been doing that. I tend to avoid social media in general, but... And even though I curate my Facebook feed and it is mostly dog stuff, there is still drama. Yes. Yes, people are kind of a menace. The cats are right. The cats are right. I'm going to take some of my russet brown and just kind of put a little bit of a darker shadow down between the sections of the pumpkin. Then we'll start highlighting. All right. Remember, you can also wet blend with water. So when you put down a highlight and you want to blend it in, you can just get a little bit of water on your brush while it's damp and do that. Just want to have a little tiny bit on your brush though, not much. You don't want to throw water everything. All right, yes, it's a pleasure to hang out with you too, Mac. Thanks for coming. Hope you're enjoying the pumpkin. So now we're going to take this lighter orange and we're going to start picking up little lumps that are higher up. And I need to get, need to mix a lighter color than this also. So I can pick those guys out and make them stand out. So let's grab a little bit of that orange, which is, again, it's a 2-to-1 burnt orange to explosion orange. And I did add a little bit of the lantern yellow into it just because I had some on my brush when I mixed. It's Luca Day today, right, Wendy? Yes, explosion orange. One of the lava and magma orange triad colors. It's the lighter one. I use a lot of different oranges. (9219). Yeah. Yep. Yeah, usually that means the Luca is going to show up. So he's taking his break. So I've got a much, much lighter color here now. That was the original. That is the now. can use that hopefully to get some of these really highlighted so that they really show up. It is Wednesday, yes. So we never know if it's going to be actual Luca Day or if the Luca is scampered off. Sometimes it's supposed to be Luca Day, and then it turns out not to be Luca Day. We don't want to lose our midtone, so here my brown was going up pretty high and I had a lot of lighter orange here, so I'm bringing some of my midtone back in to create a transition zone there so that we don't lose all of our mid. What you get if you do is you get a very washed out color because you've only got shadow and highlight. So you lose your intensity of color if you lose your midtone. And it's one of the more common things I see happen when people start shading and highlighting, is that you lose your mid. Ha! Yeah, Korniko, I would have unfriended them too. Because that person just has no sensitivity. All they care about is themselves. Because only that kind of person makes that kind of comment on a public feed. Like, their taste doesn't matter. It's your cat. I tend to nail it when it comes to people these days. And to describe behavior, it's just something that only a selfish person would say. Like somebody who really had no empathy for anyone else. That was only concerned with themselves and what they liked. Hey Keekers, I hear you over there. We're getting closer. It's supposed to get 99 degrees today, guys. Sure you can. You just need indirect light. Hard to get a good photo of them in the sun. But when you have like indirect light, then you have to have the right background. And really, you're gonna like choose whether you buy a cat based on how you can get pictures of them? Like seriously? Or rescue a cat? Yes, to one day eat your nose, why not a black one? Exactly. So just starting to get a little bit of highlighting in here. Yeah, it's supposed to be hideously hot here today. So Kiki and I are going to take refuge in the cold room once it gets that nasty. Once it hits 80 in the regular house, we move. Managed to keep it pretty cool yesterday. Wasn't too bad. And at least I don't have CrossFit tonight. Like, CrossFit yesterday was pretty hellish. It was actually cooler outside than it was in the gym. So I'm pretty much just going through and highlighting these bumpy parts just a bit more than the surrounding territory so that we can see those come out. And I'll shade them as well. Yeah, I wish, Laura. We're actually hotter than Texas today. Last I checked. Hotter than Denton. So not just highlighting, but also shading. If you go in and add a little bit of a mixture of russet brown and the orange. Can bring in just a little bit more higher highlight on the top here. All the lumpies actually make it harder to paint this pumpkin. Mid-80s, yeah. Good, Quindy. Yeah, it's supposed to, after this heat wave leaves us, we're supposed to go down again into the 70s. And hopefully 60s. I got one day that I could wear a longer sleeve shirt and then it went right back up. Pretty much this part of the pumpkin is all lumps. It's all lumps. Oh, 107. Yeah, we are not warmer than Arizona. We beat Texas today, but not AZ. I'm so thankful for the AC in the bedroom. It would be so much more terrible if we didn't have it. Glad I talked David into that one. You're getting a frost, wow. Yeah, hopefully the temps will go. My parents won't go back to Arizona until that weather is gone. Usually around Halloween is when they travel, green users. My folks they'll stay in Wisconsin and usually leave like right after Halloween. Because then it's safe. Safer. So I still have a little bit of intense orange around this area here. I'm losing a bit of my midtone, so I want to bring it back up. Why do I imagine Ygritte giving you dirty looks when you're talking about doing that, Quindy? I'm sure she would have an issue with a new tiny kitten in the house. After I get all this highlighting and shading done, the other thing I can do is take my mid-orange. If I've lost that color and I want more intensity, I can come back and glaze with it over the whole pumpkin. And that will help to return that intensity of color to it. The bumpies look pretty good though. Yeah, right. Wow, it's supposed to be 100 on Halloween. Wow, yeah, you have been running hotter. Hi, Henry. This is actually a big version of the miniature that comes free right now with if you order from Reaper. If you order, what's the amount, guys? You have to order $40? $50. So if you order $50 worth of stuff from Reaper right now, you can get this model free, only it's a smaller version. It's about, I think it's supposed to be about, what, two-thirds the height of this guy. I have the super big one because I got it straight from the sculptor. And I'm not sure what his name is. Do we know what the name of the model is? Yeah, it's in that. Reaper gives a Ghoulie bag, which is candy and miniatures and sometimes paint, for the month of October for orders. But I don't remember what this guy's name is. And I assume you can order him separately. I mean, we call him Batling. But I don't know what his name is. I'm sure he's got a name. It might just be Halloween 2024 figure. Oh, it's just Batling? Oh, he won't have an SKU for several months. Okay, so he's only in the Ghoulie bag right now. So you have to order $50 worth of product from Reaper to get him right now. Eventually, they should release him. Yeah, Henry. Sure, no problem. So yeah, eventually they should release him, so if you're patient, you can get him then, but the Batling will be out eventually. He's cute. Yeah, no problem, Henry. Alright, so we've got some highlights and shading on that side of the pumpkin. I'm keeping the face a little lighter. We can go on this side of the pumpkin. Oh, it's 11. Wait, it's Luca time. That was actually good. I finished that side of the pumpkin, like, fast. But yeah, having to paint all the little bumps and everything makes it much more long. Is Luca ready? I haven't seen him in chat. Oh, no Luca today. I missed it. Oh, no, Luca. He's fallen over. The Golden Demon entries have killed him. Yeah, when Kiki and I took our walk after the stream yesterday, it was already like 82 or 83. What is it now? $83. It's supposed to be 89 by noon. Kiki's like, get off that stream and take me for my walk. It didn't feel too bad when I took her for her walk. But we might not take our full walk if since she's not feeling well and I don't know what it is. We'll just do a little shading in here. Yeah. He has to sleep sometime, and I think this is it. You're probably right, Twisted Oma. He has to wake up and get right back to work on Golden Demon entries. Well, we'll do a little more highlighting then. Yeah, metallic oranges. It's really easy to make a really nice looking metallic orange. I mean, we experimented with a couple of. I mean, Fire Glow from the old Pro Paint line is probably the one that people know the best. So yeah, today I'm kind of like split. Part of me is like wanting to work on Patreon stuff and just get it out of the way so that I can clear the decks for it to work on the romance novel. And part of me wants to work on the romance novel and do the Patreon thing tomorrow. Probably the better option is to work on the Patreon today. It's usually what I was doing before was getting the Patreon cleared, my tasks for in the first part of the week, like really pushing to get the Patreon all done earlier in the week, and then taking the latter part of the week to just work on writing. There we go. Get some highlighting in there. Oh, and for anybody who cares, East of the Sun is going on sale. It'll be on sale by tomorrow. The ebook version will be 99 cents. Probably saw it if you were on my Patreon, but just so letting you know. I'm going to do a promotion. Started watching a video on creating Facebook ad graphics. Looks cool. Because, you know, I can't be doing more than one, like, less than 4 things at once. Kind of looking forward to the Facebook ad thing. I've recovered from the huge stresses of learning all the things I had to learn to get my books out, and so now I have energy for learning again. I feel like my learner was all burnt out. It was like, there was just too many things I had to learn to publish. And the next thing I have to do is make an iBooks account for Apple and put East of the Sun up on there. It never ends, guys. It never freaking ends. There's always stuff to do. So I need to get West of the Moon up on Barnes & Noble and on Kobo. And then Rite of Winter as well. Because I want to run, if I'm going to run these Facebook ads, I need to have all the books available on all the platforms. And that's a lot of work. But it's writing season, so we'll just have to make the time. It's fall is writing season. Yep. Yeah, for sure, Turgeon. Yeah, I'm sure Brown and John are still running late. I'm sure. I'm still running behind. A ReaperCon just takes you away from everything, and then you have to get back into everything, and there's going to be priorities for sure. All right. Yeah. All right. There we go. Just wanted to go a little late since we started a little late, so yep, we are going to call it there. I have a lot of pumpkin butt. A lot of pumpkin butt to paint still. But pumpkin front looks good. Yay, pumpkin front. Yay. I need to look up pictures of pumpkin leaves so I can nail the color. And then we've got, yeah, mushroom with little face. And little toad over here. More leaves and vines. I should probably paint the butt end of the candy corn at the same time as I'm doing this. And I think I'm going to make his eyes kind of orangey as well. Orange yellow with big pupils. That'll let me repeat the orange color around the model. All right, folks, let's call it there. We have quite a pumpkin face now. It's very bright and very big, and it's going to be our challenge to make sure that Batling still holds his own on this, considering how bright that big illuminated pumpkin face is. Yep. Thanks so much. I'm going to try to weather this extremely hot day. After this, it's supposed to start going down. When 92 feels like it's not that bad, that's when you're here. So have a great day. I hope you weather the hot as well, green users. Oh, stretchy. I'm very sore today from yesterday. I hope you all have a lovely day. Tomorrow we will be back on Batty. Probably, I don't know, I may split and go and work on his eyes and the candy corn a bit, just to like take a break from the pumpkin. Or I may feel pumpkin-y. And we'll just see. We'll just see what we're going to work on. So we have got a long journey on this guy yet to go. So have a great day. Thank you, Quindy, for herding cats. And I hope you all have a lovely one. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.